Today, I gathered a few Subnautica theories for you all. One for the first game and one for the second game. Before we start with that, I want to talk about this. We are looking for a lead programmer to help the team build the tech for our next game in the Subnautica universe. Come and join our fully remote studio and work with us to make great games. Does this mean we're getting a new Subnautica game? No, it doesn't really mean that. It could also just be a new natural selection game, which is also in the Subnautica universe. Well, Subnautica is in the natural selection universe, so it could be that, but what if it was a Subnautica 3? What would that game be? What I think would be really cool is if we go back to the place where the first Subnautica took place, around the Aurora crash zone. Maybe even as Riley himself to recover some more information about the precursors. So when he arrives, all the bases he built in the past are like green and full of algae and water because the power ran out. What would be really cool with that is if it were even the old bases you built yourself, like loading some saves from the old game. However, I think that could be really hard to do, but I'm no engineer or programmer, so I really don't know anything about that. Of course, it could also be a completely new area scattered with more lore and new ships that tie up loose ends from the first and second game. Maybe even including the gargantuan Leviathan or the crashed Degassi, since we never really see that in the first game. Speaking of the Degassi, maybe a prequel to Subnautica could also be cool, maybe even playing as one of the Degassi survivors. This could once again be really hard to put off, since we already know the unfortunate end of the Degassi crew, and we know where their bases are, and we know that only Margaret Maida survived. So maybe we play as Margaret Maida building her bases before Robin showed up to 4546B to find Sam. Or maybe even when Robin left, what happened to Margaret Maida, and maybe even the story and how she died after Robin left. Robin leaving could also be something. Maybe a Subnautica 3 could be set in the Architect world where Robin and Ellen really need to survive or save the precursor race. Unfortunately, we will not know anything about this until Unknown Worlds themselves release more information about this, and I expect that to come rather soon. So after just, getting back into Subnautica, I've been thinking a lot about the post-credit scene where it tells you that you won't be allowed to land until you pay off your debt in raw material consumption to Alterra.
Welcome home to Alterra. Permission to land will be granted once you have settled your outstanding balance of 1 trillion credits.
Obviously, this is meant to be a joke to the player, but if it's actually the case for the protagonist, wouldn't your PDA be worth more than Alterra itself? I mean, if you think about it, on your PDA you have the black box data from a crashed capital ship detailing the effects of advanced alien weaponry, and also giving them a lot of information about how the precursors protected 4546B against ships and other things to keep Kara on the planet. Your PDA would also have crew logs of all the jettisoned life pods and records of the death of their VIP occupants. They also have hard evidence of corporate conspiracy to knowingly endanger the lives of the entire Aurora crew with their auxiliary mission to rescue the Degassi survivors. Of course, the complete records of the events of the Degassi survivors, including the fate of the company's CEO, which of course doesn't include that Margaret Maida is still alive. You would also have a detailed and extensive log of flora and fauna on an incredibly hostile planet that will absolutely mean the difference between life and death for any further expeditions. Also records of and a cure for a world-ending disease, and records of the geological worth of the planet and now a safe place to land and leverage those resources. Not to mention a new form of power, the Ion Cube, that could change the way the power is distributed for the entire galaxy, and, probably even more things I didn't remember. Alterra having exclusive access to this data would be potentially galaxy changing. Your PDA therefore is the ultimate bargaining chip and one of, if not the most important human artifact in the universe. Alterra already has a lot of technology, but with your PDA could be even more advanced than anything or anyone. We all know that Sam in Below Zero is dead. However, that's what we all think. Recently, after giving Below Zero another playthrough, I maybe found something and a few details that stuck out quite largely to me. The first thing is about her necklace. Robin says when you grab it that she never takes it off, which was likely left from the excavation crew.
This was Sam's necklace. She never took it off.
But there's something big that sticks out. The necklace was neatly placed on the table, nearly centered. Later on, you and Ellen talk about how she was a neat freak, and everything was organized. Based on how it was laid on the table, I feel this is weird, but there will be more on this later on, you'll see. The second bit is that how they said she died. First, the footsteps. They said there are two set of tracks. One of them, of course, by Parvin, the security head. They assume the other is Sam's, but that's where they're wrong. Parvin made multiple rounds in and out of the cave daily. Based on where he's based in this PDA on his entire round, he was returning back in, which means he already made one set of tracks going out the door, plus the second one going back further, where he likely got killed. Secondly, he saw something move in the back, but dismissed it due to his boredom. It was likely Sam finishing placing the bombs and or leaving the cave.
I thought I saw something moving on the screen, but it was just that I sneezed. Wiped it off.
Lastly, they said the front caved in, but yet also say she fell from the collapsed platform, which doesn't really add up. The third and final thing is more from the past about our good friend Altera. We know them to be willing to do whatever it takes to make them seem right, to finding Riley a lot of credits, or even lying to their workers about their jobs, or even hiding the fact about co-workers' deaths or issues. This makes me wonder if they are hiding things about what happened. Now finally, my theory. I think Sam survived the explosion. Robin does never really see her body and starts to wonder. Altera knows she launched the bombs, but couldn't blame the incident on bad security. So they said she went insane and tried to stop them from doing their job. But the details from what they said and what you'd find don't all add up. With the necklace, someone would have probably given Danielle, Sam's girlfriend, or Robin, her sister, since they all knew each other quite well. Also, if someone from the cleanup crew found it, they wouldn't have neatly placed it on the table in the work area. In the way of gear the researchers may need, I think Sam left it as a sign after everyone left to show her sister she is still alive. Knowing Altera, they don't want to admit they messed up, but forgot to make sure they had everything properly lined up to keep them looking clean. So, there we have it. 2 Subnautica theories. What do you think about them? Let me know in the comments below. And normally I don't really ask about this, but we are very close to 300 subscribers, and thank you all for that. So if you enjoyed this video and any of my other content, maybe consider subscribing. Anyways, thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.